Saturday, and I'm in my car. And this week's Pause 29 is all about part of what I was practicing today. And so I thought this is a good time just to stop and have a chat with you all. Pause 29 is resetting my internal clock. Tick tock, tick tock. There's a reason for why I put that final bit in here. We're going to talk about it. Hi, I'm Robin McClendon. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who've just stumbled upon me for the first time, stick around. We do all kind of mixed media, art, journaling, and this year we're talking a lot about the pauses and how we can use pauses to affect change, to usher in new ideas, and just to have a lot of fun and exercise personal agency. So and thank you to all of those who are back with me this week, hanging out over in the premiere. We're chatting it up. Always love that. And so, resetting my internal clock. Well, with us doing the pauses, every pause leads to the next one and to the next one. And you guys know who've been on this journey with me because you tell me a lot of the same things. You know that one thing opens you up to the next and to the next, and boy, is it just a really cool journey. So yeah, coming out of readiness is a decision, not a feeling, and those type of pauses, I really started thinking about how do I know when I'm ready, even, and I think a lot of that has to do with our own our feelings come up because of the internal dialogues that are going on inside of us. And those dialogues, like it or not, are ruled by time. We're either thinking about if we're going to be able to do something, do we have enough time to get this done? Or I can't do this today, but I can do it in 3 days. Boy, I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to do it at all. With this time is a thing, and it has a lot to do with how we are actually approaching those things that mean the most to us. Like last week, I was talking about my grandsons and just spending time in Sedona with them and just taking an impromptu week, nothing planned, nothing scripted, and just go up and hang out with the boys and, hang around the water. They love water and just really take some downtime. So it's this idea of really me registering what's going on with my internal clock. And I figured if I'm dealing with it, you guys are dealing with it too. We're same, we're tribes folks, and we find that the same things are happening. So many of you reached out last week and thought, what, and told me, gosh, I really needed to hear that. How did you know I needed to hear that? It's because I needed to say it, because I was experiencing the opportunity that I could have missed by saying no to going to Sedona. So, and then it really had me thinking about how a number of the things that we've been talking about and that we've been doing has allowed us to have personal agency over time and over our time. And like early on, we talked about doom scrolling and realized how much time we were burning up just scrolling. Those algorithms, just make you go faster and faster and faster. And you can hardly catch your breath because then something else comes up that's triggering and oops, I don't want to look at that. And then you're trying to find the button to close it off. And do you notice how they keep on changing where the buttons are to exit? It's really funny. The other thing I've noticed, tell me guys if you've noticed this, put the comments below. I've noticed that my thumb, that normally I can use to do the skip button when I don't want to see an ad or something like that, I can hit it 2 or 3 times and it's not skipping. And I happened to be mentioning it to my daughter, and she started laughing. She said, "The same thing was happening to me." She said, "I thought it was just me." So maybe that button has been desensitized a little bit. I don't know, but I found it interesting. I just curious if you guys are seeing the same thing because I'm very conscious of the minutes and the seconds that I'm using and where I'm placing them. And I think probably if I wasn't as conscious of that, I might not even notice the little button thing. I would just think, oh, tap it 5, 6 times and I'll do it. But it's just little things like that that I take pause. Now it may be nothing. It could still be my thumb. It could still be me and my daughter's thumb. Who knows? But I do stop. It does make me stop and think. And as a result of stopping and thinking about that, it is also slowing down my responses and how I'm interacting in my environment. And so as I stopped the doom scrolling and was taking breaks from Instagram and all that stuff, we all have talked about it. I started reading more. Like, I really had to challenge myself during COVID to start reading more because I found that I was impatient. Like, when you read, it doesn't go as fast as a video or a reel or TikTok. And that's why I even said earlier, TikTok, because early on when TikTok first started, I went on there, I set up a page. I'm an influencer. I have Instagram, I have Patreon, I have Pinterest, YouTube. So, of course, naturally, I'm going to look at the next platform. And something about it right out the gate, it was just too fast for me. I thought, oh my goodness, this is even faster. And I wasn't enjoying it. And I believe in relationships. I've taken my time to establish relationships with my community, with many of you I know on a first name basis. Many of you email me or send me happy kits. We see each other at workshops. Many of you have been to my several of my workshops, and we've really gotten to know each other. So I believe in relationship. And so if I'm attempting to have relationship with my community and something is going even faster, and then I disappear even quicker, and you trying to find anything that I've said, unless it goes viral, you'll never see it again, wasn't appealing to me, and it wasn't appealing to who I felt my community is. Not to say that you don't go on TikTok, but for me to produce content over there, I don't know. So no. I'm so glad I said no to that because I'm already dealing with things being so fast on Instagram. Want to slow down from that. So, and then when I was thinking about resetting my clock and then just thinking about an app that's called TikTok, and it's just like, and it's so indicative of that app. Like, it's just like TikTok, 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 TikTok. Seconds are just going by. And what do you really have to show for it when you're done? I'm not saying good information doesn't come off of it. We can find good everywhere. At least I can. I find good in anything. But yeah, so I'm trying to slow down. So as a result of me even working through doom scrolling and um, taking social media fast, I started reading more. And at first, I was unhappy with the rate at which I was reading. It felt so slow. But then when I made a purpose, when I decided, wait a minute, get your tea, your coffee, or your wine, depending on what time of day it is, go find your comfy chair, kick back, and purpose the time to read. That was a huge shift because my expectation, everything slowed down. I wasn't trying to read while I still had my phone next to me, while I still had the iPad, where I periodically put the book down and see what binged on my phone, or was it an email? Wow, that kept me in a different rhythm. But when I just got rid of all of that and purposed to just sit down and read and just have a nice cup of tea and relax, all of a sudden the time shifted and reading was just so enjoyable. I wasn't conscious of this thing of feeling like it was too slow. And also what happened is it felt like time just began to extend. Like I could read for a couple of hours and yet I would feel like, oh, 5 or 6 hours should have passed, and yet it was only a couple of hours, or it was only, I still had so much of the day left, that kind of thing. And that really started hitting me because also when we're doing things that, when you're doing something you really don't want to do, you're struggling to get it going. I mean, it seems like the time drags. ugh, it seems like it's taken so long. And by the time you do get it done, then it seems like the day is gone. So what is it about that with time? While you're doing something you don't want to do, it's dragging on and dragging on. And then by the time you look up, it's been 5 hours for something that should have only been maybe 45 minutes. But then you take something that's enjoyable and you go with the rhythm of it slowly, and you're reading or whatever along that line. I have some more suggestions that I've discovered. And not only does the time just feel like it's just gone so slowly, but you feel like you got all this time left. It's to me, it's really, really crazy, that phenomena. Tell me, guys, if you've noticed that. So I started thinking of other things that fell into the same realm of reading. So for instance, when I listen to music now, I listen to CDs and I listen to albums. I inherited my father's album collection years ago. My dad was a musician. He played the saxophone, and he had an amazing jazz album collection. And I inherited a lot of that years ago when he decided he wanted to move to CDs, and he just kind of gradually got rid of his records, and I just kept on taking them. My phone was not happy with the spot that I was in because there was so much heat coming through the window. I am in Arizona, and it's summertime, and it gets pretty hot. Um, and it just stopped because it was starting to overheat, and I get it. So anyway, I'm gonna finish this conversation up. I was talking about inheriting my dad's collection, and then recently, many of you probably know that my dad passed away, and so I inherited his entire CD collection. He has an amazing collection, and so I've started listening more to albums, to CDs. Okay, so now when you put an album or a CD on, think about it. You've reclaimed a different type of time. It's one we used to always know about and was aware of, but now with everything we're doing is on our phones or our iPads, and everything has commercials and algorithms and things that want to move you along faster or make you stay longer on another page. But when you put an album on, you got a good 30 minutes of no ads and the album just moving from one song to the next, to the next, to the next. The same thing is true with a CD. There's no advertising in that stuff. There's nothing to interrupt the time for you. And when it hit me, it was like a revelation. And comment if some of you, it's a revelation for you right now, like where you're right, Robin, I never thought about that. And so put an album on or put a CD in. You can even get an inexpensive CD player, but just put CDs in and experience it. You're going to gain time. And when you gain the time, your clock resets. It's like so super cool. Whew. So these are the types of things I've started doing around the house, and not having my phone around, not having the iPad around, playing the music, reading a book, cooking some food, taking it easy, gardening. That's another thing. I have a small garden, but I have it in a hoop house. And because, the sun is just brutal. And I'm telling you, you got to have some kind of covering so that your vegetables will survive. So you guys know that I have been traveling a lot, got back from Portugal, and I was then back a couple of weeks and went to Maryland. And my garden is on a timer. So it's going to come on a couple times a day. So I have to worry about the watering problems. When I came back, I had so many tomatoes and plants were literally falling over on the ground. I had so many peppers and you name it. And so I thought, I got to get in there and weed. I needed to pull some of the older plants out. And so one whole bed I just cleared out to make room for some new stuff I'm going to put in. Harvest a lot of stuff. But guess what? I did it entirely without my phone. I was just outside enjoying it. And it took me a couple of hours to get it all done right and, replant certain things and clean out the beds and tidy everything up and what have you. Wow, time well spent. And here again, I was enjoying it. And what started off feeling like I probably worked for a couple of hours, it only ended up being like an hour or so. And I got so much done. So there's some things like this that I've started to do that I just decide I'm going to enjoy, and I'm not going to have the phone. Okay, this is officially my first vlog. I have had this camera like in 3 or 4 different places. It did not like being outside. It was like too hot. It just kept on overheating. But you know, I'm driving around. Tell me also, we got all kind of chats going on below this video. But when I'm driving along, I think about a lot of things. I'm thinking about my pauses. I'm thinking about my relationship to what I'm going to share with you all and what my own observations have been. And I was out for a while today, for quite a while, and I thought, I'm just going to pull over and have the conversation while it's fresh on my mind. Not wait till I come all the way home and you want to get something to eat and a little something, coffee or tea or whatever, and then sit down and then try to remember what it was I was going to share. Like, it always falls flat. So I thought, oh, I'll just pull over. But, you know, we're in 110 degrees in August. Not the best time for technology that, you know, that overheats. Anyway, so I'm back here in my home studio, and we're going to finish up. Yeah, so this is Robin's first vlog. That needs to be the caption of this video, because I really don't know how to do vlogs. I love them. I watch a lot of influencers who do them, especially like in home and other type garden and stuff like that. Those are some of my interests. But, and I always have this idea, oh, I would love to do some vlogging, but I don't know. Maybe I'll get to it. I have to figure out how to do it. It's not, this stuff isn't easy. When you sit down and watch people, and there's some good vloggers out there, it ain't easy. Let me just do a shout out to for them and to them. So anyway, yeah, the gist of it is that I'm finding that anything I can remove technology from, the phone, the iPad, anything where there's an algorithm that's going to control how long I look at something, control what I look at, insert ads and commercials because it's reading the neurological signals of my eyes, how long your eyes stay on something, then it starts producing ads. That's how it does it. It's like the technology is crazy. Anything that when you put that down, you find the amount of time you will reclaim. And it really will allow you to really start working on what your own internal clock is. And you know, our parasympathetic system and our sympathetic system is regulated by our mitochondria and the way our cells are in relationship to the neurological stimulus that we're getting. And so our eyes take in a lot of that stimulus. The flicker rate on televisions, I think, are like 200. They might be up to 260 or 280 now. And you know, a second. And you know, our eyes only process about 40 to 60 flickers a second. So what's happening with all those other flickers? What's going on? I mean, there's something going on. Like, I don't know. But when I came across that, I thought, you know, old televisions were like, you know, 40 to 60 flickers, you know, because that's what the eyes can take in before it gets overwhelmed. So you figure that the eyes are taking in a lot, and that's controlling our neurological system. So our clocks are connected to that. So, you know, throughout this talk, I'm sure that you've already begun to see the page that I worked on. So this was last week's page, right? And so I'm really big on integrating. When I move from one page to the next, I like it to be a flow. I mean, it's just the book artist in me. I want everything to feel like there's a flow and that it's planned. And what happens when we're doing spontaneous journaling like this, that's why I stick to a tight color palette. I'll decide what my color palette is for my book, and then I hang close to that color palette. And it's what makes everything look like, you know, like we can start any place in my book, and it's going to have a nice flow to it because I'm really hanging tight to a color palette. But I love this color palette, so it's not, I don't feel like I'm depriving myself. I feel like I'm just really exploring one of my favorite color palettes. And so you can sort of see this sort of transition that happens throughout my book. And I want you to think about it. And even if yours is a little broader palette, just sort of think about it. And maybe there's sometimes you might want to practice a little tighter palette to see whether or not your journals will have a different type of fluidity to it. But you know me, there's no rights or no wrongs. It's all about enjoying ourselves. But I wanted to point that out to you because I particularly pay attention to that.
It's just how I like to create. And I like to see the spontaneity and the excitement that can come up from me limiting myself and still seeing how broad can my ideas flow. So that this is a print that I'd done a while ago using my stencils that are in the back of my book, Gel Plate Printing for Mixed Media Art. You guys have that book. These stencils in the back. There are two in the back. This is one of them. And this was done on a brown paper bag using gesso. I like printing with gesso. And a lot of times when you go to stain it, it's really cool too. This down here is one of the pieces that I made with one of Seth's Sizzix. I showed that back, I think, in June. And then I put some other images down, and then my scripting went over this page here, which is resetting my internal clock. And then I came back and decided to put a little, grunge sort of ink blot, just to give a little more interest to that. And then this was the last page of this section. Remember, this was a 2-section book. So I finished this first section. So there's 30 pause. No, this is 29. So there are 29 pauses here. And then 30 will start in the next section. So that'll give us 30. That'll give us 22 here. And this was a page that was just off printing on a gel print, literally. And I liked. And then I was actually using one of my stamps. And so I put some gold ink down and then stamped off just to see if the stamp was working well. And when it was done, I liked the page, so I coffee stained it and held on to it. And so that becomes the final page in this section with a little piece of ephemera that probably came off as something like incense or something like that. Yeah, so that's pause 29, which is resetting our internal clocks. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this chat and Robin's first vlog. Ha ha ha. Oh boy. But I love you guys. This is a lot of fun for me. I enjoy our conversations in the chat. So yeah, keep sharing with me. I'll continue to do the same with you. Have an amazing week. Continue to pause. And if you haven't tried some of the things I've suggested in this video, try them. I think you will be surprised. It'll take you back to the good old days. But if you have other ones that you do, share them with me, because I'm really looking to insert more of these things back into my life. And maybe you're doing something that's doing a similar thing. I would love, love, love to know about it. So put that below as well. In the meantime, have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you next week for pause 30, moving along on my channel. So take care and happy creating.